Hi guys, I am here on my little yoga ball, rolling around and holding one of my favorite books. I think all of these amazing access consciousness books are some of my favorite books. This one is Salon Des Femmes, and it is based on a series of conversations that took place a few years ago with Gary Douglas, founder of Access Consciousness, and a group of brave and amazing women. And the result is this phenomenal book that I'll be reading from today. Chapter 9, Creating a Sustainable Future. Maybe you should stop trying to survive and start looking at what it would take for you to thrive. Gary, hello ladies. Let's start with some questions. Having children. You said that for most women, salon participant, you said that for most women, creating the future is about having children, and that having kids is a lower harmonic of creation of future. Can you be a warrior for creating the future and also choose to have you and children? Gary, yes, you can. Most people have decided that future is about children and not about creating a long-term effect in the world. That's the reason children are seen as long-term effects in the world, but they're not the only long-term effect. You have to have all choices. All choices should be available to you. Salon participant. I've been choosing to invite children into my universe, and this has expanded my living infinitely. What else is possible when I choose this? You have to look at this choice and ask, if I choose to have these kids in my life, is it going to create a greater future or a lesser future for me and for them? Future does not mean just you. It's you and them. Most people do children from the point of view of, well, now I will have somebody to care about me, or I will have somebody who will love me forever. You have to be willing to recognize that when you move into the place of creating future for you and others, a different possibility can occur. You have to create a future that is not based on a solid point of view. You have to create a future with a sustainable reality that is beyond this reality. Oh, I love that. Salon participant, you said we're conquerors and we battle for future. And when we see an opening, that's where we go through. Gary, you will see the place where an opening occurs because of your willingness to create a different future beyond this reality. An opening will come to you and you will say, oh, I have to go there. You know it because you're more willing to function from your knowing than anything else. It's not about getting out of this reality. Salon participant, I am so frustrated with being a stepmom to a stepson who's moved back home again. I don't know how to put it into words. How do I not be the kid's stepmother? Gary, you're asking, how do I get out of this reality? But it's not about getting out of this reality. If that was going to create everything that you desired, then getting out would be easy. You want to ask, how do I create a reality beyond this reality that would actually work for me? Salon participant, well, how do I do that? Gary, you say to him, now that you're back, you're too old for me to be a mother or a stepmother for you. So how do we create a friendship and a working relationship as roommates? Salon participant, well, I did that. He basically told me non-verbally to go, oof, myself. You guys know what he was saying, right? And continue to do whatever he felt like doing. Gary, so why are you putting up with it? Salon participant, yeah, why am I putting up with it? I want to run away from home. Gary, why are you not telling him you straighten up or you get out? Salon participant, well, I would, but I'm the stepmom. If I say that, I've turned into the nag I've never wanted to be. Gary, if your husband isn't backing you up with a kid, then tell him you have a choice. It's either me or the kid. One of us has to go. Have you sat down with your husband and said, we have to chat? Salon participant, well, we're going to do that tonight. The humanoid woman I am can't handle this anymore. The warrior is coming up. Gary, that's not true. The humanoid woman you are can handle it. You're simply not willing to put up with it any longer. Salon participant, no, I'm not. Gary, All you have to do is say to your husband, do you realize your son is treating me like crap? Is that the way you want him to treat me? Salon participant, got it. Gary, then you have to say, either he changes or I leave. What do you want? Salon participant, that's exactly where I am. Gary, all you do is say it, not with anger or charge. It's just, this is what it is. I don't wish to deal with this anymore. I've stuffed my feelings, my awareness, everything. This needs to change or I need to go. Which do you want? If he's not aware of his son treating you that way, do you really want to deal with that? Salon participant, well, he is aware. He's just not dealing with it. And this is the situation he doesn't want to deal with. He even joined a country club to play golf, and I'm at home. Gary, well, that works for him. Is it working for you? Salon participant, it's not working for me. It's putting more on me, and I'm responsible for changing everything. Gary, stop. It's making me. It's a lie you're telling yourself. Nothing and no one makes you be or do anything except you. Salon participant, well, right. I'm making myself responsible. I'm doing it. Gary, you have a choice. You can either do what works for you or not. I talked with a lady today who said, I am so angry at my grandson for not cleaning up after himself. He creates a mess and it makes me crazy. I tell him he has to clean it up, but he doesn't do it. And I asked, who do you clean the house for? You or him? And she said, well, for me, what does that mean? And I said, he's not cleaning up the house because he doesn't want to do it for you. He eats cookies and doesn't clean up the crumbs and the mess that he makes. So put the cookies in your room, lock the door, and leave. He won't be able to find the cookies. You have to be pragmatic about how to make this stuff work. Just love that, Gary Douglas. Salon participant, thank you very much. Why don't you be you? Salon participant, in the last call you asked, why don't you be you? And it's a question that you've asked many times previously. I guess it's about being the warrior fighting for the future who's willing to be every bit of kindness, gentleness, nurturing, and healing every moment with total presence and allowance. Is that correct? Gary, absolutely. You have to be brutally honest with yourself about what you would like to create. Salon participant, sometimes the awareness of what I truly am is so huge that it seems too much to translate into this physical reality. Gary, it is, but you're not trying to translate it into this physical reality. You're trying to permeate it into this physical reality. If you try to translate it, you're trying to make it fit into this universe instead of making it a choice that you have available for you. A sustainable reality beyond this reality. Salon participant, well, what does creating a future with a sustainable reality that is beyond this reality look like? Gary, well, right now, all of you are choosing a better version of this reality. But this reality isn't sustainable the way it's functioning. That's the reason we have to create a sustainable reality beyond this reality. Everything that we're doing right now is moving towards an end to the viability of planet Earth that it currently is. Something has to change. What is it? I don't have a good answer for you, and I don't know pragmatically what it means, except that you must live as the difference. Salon participant, can you say more about sustainable reality beyond this reality? You said that right now we're only able to create or generate something that is better or just a little different. Gary, I am trying desperately to get you guys to see that you have different choices than you ever thought you had, yet you're trying to choose a better version of this reality. I will make a better life for myself isn't the same thing as I'm going to create something so different that nothing like it has ever occurred here before. I can't give you a good example of this other than what I did with Access Consciousness. I knew I had to do something that had never existed here. I had to do something that created a different kind of possibility and a different reality. Salon participant, You've talked about how you often use future without an a or the, in quotations, in front of it because you don't wish to define it or limit it as though it's one thing. I keep making it the future or a future, which limits it and makes it solid. I've been trying to create the future, and that's what you're trying to dismantle. Is that right? Gary, no. I'm trying to give you a willingness to create a sustainable future beyond this reality. You've been trying to create a future, but it's contracted because you're looking at a future based on what you already have and how you can make that better. Salon participant, that's correct. I've already decided what the future should be, what it can be, and so on. Gary, how many things have you decided you've gotten right in your life? Everything that is times a godzillion. Will you destroy and uncreate it all? Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pod, all nine shorts, boys and beyonds. Now let's say you had the idea that you needed to have $3 million to be secure in life. So you got $3 million to create a future beyond this reality. You had no clue what that would be unless it was more money. Salon participant, that's correct. I've created $4 million and that's it for me. I don't know what's beyond that. Gary, you're not trying to create a reality beyond that. You're trying to create a reality that keeps what you've decided is right so that you can hold on to it. Everything that you're trying to hold on to from the past, you have to be willing to let that go. Are you willing to let go of having $4 million? Salon participant, yes. Gary, truth? Salon participant, yes. Gary, you're willing to let it go? To let go of it? You just lied. Salon participant, I can't see where I'm lying. Gary, would you be willing to lose it all? Salon participant, if you're telling me no, I will trust you. Please help me see it. Gary, you will say yes because your assumption is that you will have more instead. What if money was the one thing that was creating a place of non-sustainable future? Would you have to choose something different? And what would different look like? Salon participant, I go there. I go to a future without money, and by without money, I don't mean the energy. I mean the paper. Survival versus sustainability. Gary, hold on. You're going to a future from a place of being where you are. You're going to the idea, I cannot survive, quote unquote. Survival is not creating a sustainable future. You have to be willing to lose survival. You have to be willing to lose survival because you've spent your lifetime surviving and only occasionally thriving. Regardless of the condition, you always know you can make it in this reality. Everything that is times a godzillion. Will you destroy and uncreate it all? Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pod, all nine, shorts, boys and beyonds. Salon participant, what is survival? Gary, survival is, no matter what occurs, you will continue. Salon participant, well, I believe that. Are you asking me to give that up? Is that it? Why would I give that up? Gary, what if true sustainability was not survival? Salon participant, that doesn't make sense. Gary, it's not supposed to make sense. You can survive anything, but survival is the one thing you have to give up if you want to create sustainability. Survival and sustainability are not the same. Even though plant life is dying, you can adjust to continue on. Salon participant, what would I take with me to contribute to my being sustainable? Gary, what would I take with me is not a place from which you can create a sustainable reality beyond this reality. That's what's killing you. Salon participant, what sustainable means to me is that there's more contribution. Where am I not allowing more contribution? Gary, what do you mean by contribution? What others can give to you, what you can give to others, or what you can get in both directions? Salon participant, what other people would be to me and what I would be to them. Gary, why is it that you consider people valuable? Salon participant, because I think all the things in my life are contributing to me, except the people. Gary, what if there were no people? Would you be okay? Salon participant, yeah. Gary, good. You have to recognize that there is a different possibility. Salon participant, can you go into what survival and sustainability are, please? Gary, survival is the idea that you can maintain regardless of the circumstances. If you are doing survival, you could manage to continue to exist regardless of the circumstances. If your target is to continue to exist regardless of the circumstances, is that creation? Salon participant, no. Gary, so you have to be willing to lose survival, even as a vague concept in your world. Everything that you've done to make survival a reality for you, will you destroy and uncreate it all? Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pod, all nine, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Sustainability means that whatever it is continues to grow and expand. When you're doing something that is sustainable, it will continue to grow, expand, and take care of itself. When you create a sustainable reality beyond this reality, you're taking into consideration the question, what would it look like if everything here was not dying? Right now, if you look around, there's a lot of stuff dying. Salon participant, well, have I misapplied sustainability as survival? Gary, yes, you've misidentified and misapplied survival and sustainability. And everything you've done that creates that, will you destroy and uncreate it all? Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pod, all nine, shorts, boys, and beyonds. What would it be like to create a sustainable world? I look at what's going on in the world, and I see that if we continue to go in the direction we're going, people will survive for another 100 years, and then the planet will be used up. Salon participant, people will survive, but there will be no sustainability. There's a big difference in the energy of those two. Gary, yep, that's what I want you to get. If you start looking for survival, you hold on to the idea of surviving. You're like the lady who was talking about her stepson. She was surviving the situation, but it wasn't sustainable reality for her. You can survive anything. You don't want to survive these situations. You want to do what will create a sustainable reality. What would it look like if your reality was sustainable? Salon participant, I have a question. When we give up survival, will we just do creation? Gary, survival is the limit of what you can receive. It's as if you have created a limit of what you can receive based on survival. Based on that, you are satisfied. You say, I only need this much to survive, or I need these kind of people if I'm going to survive. No, you don't. If you're going to have a sustainable reality, there are people who will have to change and choose and be different for sustainability to be created. Sustainability is a creation, and survival is institution to keep in existence what currently exists. So what stupidity are you using to create the invention of survival as the primary choice you are choosing? Everything that is times a godzillion, will you destroy and uncreate it all? Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pod, all nine, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Salon participant, my husband and I started to have a talk about money, and the next thing I knew, I was saying, this isn't enough for me. This is not working. The survival I've chosen and not chosen doesn't work for me, and yet that's what's happening. Gary, did you survive your childhood? Salon participant, yes, there were moments of living. Gary, did you decide that because you survived, you're a survivor? Salon participant, yes. Gary, everything you decided with that, and all the decisions, judgments, conclusions, and computations creating that, will you destroy and uncreate it all? Right, wrong, good, bad, all nine, pock, pod, shorts, boys, and beyonds. As a survivor, you tolerate the situation and you do the best you can to live regardless of what occurs. but it is not a place to create a sustainable future. Salon participant, sustainable or not, it's not worth it. Gary, that's a judgment. Why do you go into judgment? Judgment and conclusion are the systems that you have in place to create survival. You have to come to conclusion and judgment. You compute and decide that you have to survive. So all the decisions, judgments, conclusions, and computations that you are using to create your survival, will you destroy and uncreate them all? Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine, shorts, boys, and beyonds. It doesn't matter if you have $4 million. You're going into decisions, judgments, conclusions, and computations so that you can survive. Those are symbolically, systematically, and simplistically the elements required to survive. You're coming to conclusions like, I can't do this anymore. I can't survive. This isn't working. This is not enough. Those are judgments. The awareness is, I don't want to live like this. Something has to change. Then you go into question. So what physical actualization of the creation of a sustainable future beyond this reality are you now capable of creating, generating, and instituting? Everything that doesn't allow that times a godzillion, will you destroy and uncreate it all? Right and wrong, good and bad, POC and POD, all nine, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Salon participant. In the world of addiction, it seems like the 12-step program is survival, and the right recovery for you program is sustainability. Is that accurate, Gary? Yes. Right recovery for you is a set of tools and techniques that allow people to create a future that is sustainable. Salon participant. When we apply access consciousness tools to anything, are we creating sustainability? Gary, yes. A question creates a future that has some sustainability. As long as you're not doing decisions, judgments, conclusions, and computations, you are in creative mode, creating a sustainable monetary future. Salon participant. We require money to survive rather than a sustainable power of living. Gary, but you've not created money as a sustainable future for you, have you? You came to a conclusion that you didn't need money or want money, or that money wasn't solving problems, or that money wasn't creating something for you. People have a lot of ideas about what money is and isn't. Salon participant. I got wild and angry around money for being the main focus of this reality. Gary, yes, but it doesn't have to be the main focus of your reality. Money's never the focus of my reality. My focus is, how do I change things? I was talking with my daughter today, and she told me about a friend of hers whose husband informed her, just after she had a hysterectomy, that he had a girlfriend in Mexico. He told his wife he wanted to leave her, but he couldn't because he didn't have enough money. The idea was the wife needed to work more so that he could leave her. I said to my daughter, I wonder how much money she would need to change things and kick that jerk out of her life. I will give it to her. That guy is mean and deserves to die. That's not something you tell somebody when they're in the midst of an operation. Salon participant. What would creating money as a sustainable future look like? Would you create money? Gary. What I ask everybody to do is put away 10% of all the money that comes in. And when you do that, you're creating a sustainable monetary future. You're telling the universe, I would like to have enough money coming in so I can put 10% away. Salon participant. I already do that, so I wanted something more. Please help me with that. Gary, yes, but you didn't like the answer. Salon participant. Well, I didn't like it because I'm already doing that. Gary, are you willing to recognize where you create a sustainable future because of what you're choosing? When you do that, you are starting to create a sustainable future. I created Access Consciousness as a business, and if I die tomorrow, it will continue on. That is a sustainable future. I put as many things in place as I can so that I am replaceable. Have you made you replaceable in the future, or have you tried to be indispensable? Salon participant. Mostly I've tried to be indispensable. Gary, that's not creating a sustainable future. Salon participant, well, what about leaving an inheritance? Gary, that's not a sustainable future. That is just money, and you're leaving it for other people to throw away because they didn't earn it. Salon participant, What would it take for me to create a sustainable future with the capability that I have and be with money? Gary, you haven't looked at that at all. Start looking at it before instituting a future. So, what physical actualization of creation of a sustainable future am I now capable of creating, generating, and instituting? Everything that doesn't allow that times a godzillion will you destroy and uncreate it all. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pod, all nine, shorts, boys, and beyonds. Salon participant, thank you, Gary. Nobody can make anyone else happy. Ain't that the truth? Salon participant, my relationship runs in weird circles. My husband and I talk about marriage and divorce a lot. He says things like, well, if I didn't have to give you money, I would leave. And if the kids weren't here, I would leave. And I say, the kids will be fine and you don't have to give me money. Yet he won't leave. And we spend every day not being happy. I would like to change this. Gary, he doesn't really want to leave. Salon participant, well, I get that, but there's so much anger, blame, and shame. I'm constantly pock and potting distractor implants. There's no desire for sex. What is this insanity? Gary, are you willing to change and make the relationship work for him? Salon participant, he's asking me to be the housewife and to earn money. I do both, and yet nothing makes him happy. Gary, nobody can make anybody else happy. Salon participant, so where do I begin to choose my life? Gary, you've already chosen your life. What if you started to ask a question? Like, what would it take to create a sustainable future for me, my kids, and my husband? Salon participant, I have asked that. Gary, no, you haven't. I've never given you this question. Salon participant, well, I said to him, let's change this. What's required? What would you like? What would work for you? And we've gone through scenarios. It's insane. I've been doing this since day one, choosing this insanity. Surviving versus thriving. Gary, that is interesting. I've been doing this since day one. Does that mean you went into your marriage with those decisions, judgments, conclusions, and computations? Salon participant, yes. Gary, when you do decisions, judgments, conclusions, and computations, all you can do is survive. You cannot create a sustainable future. You're coming to conclusion about what you're supposed to do instead of coming to awareness about what you could be doing. You have to be clear that for you right now, life is about survival. Maybe you should stop doing survival and look at what it would take for you to thrive. So what stupidity are you using to create the invention of life as survival are you choosing? You are choosing, sorry. Everything that is times a godzillion will you destroy and uncreate it all. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pod, all nine, shorts, boys, and beyonds. What if you didn't invent decisions, judgments, conclusions, and computations? Salon participant, I love the concept of sustainability. Over the last 12 months, I've spent a huge sum of money creating a garden. I've noticed that any person who comes into the garden changes, even my neighbors. Their horses are winning races. To see the magic that occurs here is awesome. I see where I'm creating a sustainable future, but this by itself is not enough for me. Gary, you haven't been creating a sustainable future financially. When you were working with your ex-husband, you were creating together. Did you consider what you were creating a sustainable future? Salon participant, yes. Gary, is he still doing that, or is he coming to decisions, judgments, conclusions, and computations? Salon participant, he is destroying his future. Oh, that's where my anger and confusion is. I'm not creating the way that I was with him. What can I create as a sustainable future? Gary, right. You have to do that with something else. So find something that would create a sustainable future that you've never considered. Salon participant, you always get me to this place and I can't push through it. Gary, you can. Salon participant, but I won't. Gary, yes, so run this. What physical actualization of the creation of a totally sustainable future am I now capable of creating, generating, and instituting? Everything that doesn't allow that times a godzillion will you destroy and uncreate it all. Right and wrong, good and bad, pock and pod, all nine, shorts, boys, and beyonds. I'm trying to get you to a stage where you've been willing to go. I'm trying to get you to a stage where you have been unwilling to go in the past. I'd like to see all of you start to look at, I am a warrior who's going to battle to create a future that has never been. Once you do that, you will not fight against anything, because as soon as you are against a situation, you stop fighting for creating something that has never been. I'm going to read that one again because that is worth $1,000,000 right there. Once you do that, you will not fight against anything, because as soon as you are against a situation, you stop fighting for creating something that has never been. If you go for creating a sustainable future, you will have even greater choices. So try asking, I love this. What brings me joy? What brings me joy? What is joyful for me to do and be? You have to look at your future from, what can I create as a sustainable future? You have to do this with no indication of what it is supposed to look like. Many of you are trying to decide what it will look like before going on the trip. So go on the trip, folks, and you will find out what it looks like when you get there. All right, that's it for tonight. Thank you, ladies. It has been awesome. Thank you, guys. That was chapter 9 from this phenomenal book, Salon Des Femmes. And for my beautiful Israeli friends that I met in Tel Aviv at the first Joyful Possibilities intro evening, I am on my trusty, yummylicious yoga ball. I am wearing a skirt, as I promised, and nothing else underneath. How much joy can you add into your life?